our dignitaries on the dais. First, I will request our Honorable Past President Charanjot Singh Nanda sir to please come on the dais. Then I will request our beloved Vice President Mangesh Kindre sir to please grace the dais. And now friends, welcome with a loud applause our President Prasanna Kumar sir, जिनके आने से प्रसन्नता आ जाती है. Welcome sir. Then we have our esteemed panel of speakers. I will call upon Vittal Raj sir to please grace the dais. Then I will call upon Narsimhan sir to please come on the dais. Then another smart speaker, Harpreet, please come on dais. Then जिसका प्रभाव गिरता है AI के discussions में, प्रभाव अग्रवाला, please come on the dais. So friends, we will have first our leadership talk and then we will start our panel discussion. It has been specially designed for the sector-wise impact of AI on our Indian economy and that particular sector. So before that, I will request all the dignitaries to come forward for a group photo because that is the specially designed memento by METI to all of us. Please, sir. So friends, let's start our discussion with our leadership talk. So I will request now our Honorable Past President Nanda sir to please guide us on the AI in ICI under your leadership. Last year we started working in this committee and today we are here. So your words of wisdom, sir, please.
A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The most honorable President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, 2627 C. Prasanna Kumar D. Very esteemed Vice President, C. Mangesh Kindre Sahab, the Chairman of the Committee, Shri Umesh Sharma Ji, the very esteemed dignitaries, Mr. Prabhav, Harpreet Ji, Elangov Ji, Vittal Rao Ji, and more importantly, the audience who have come here to go home more enlightened. Ladies and gentlemen, we started artificial intelligence when it was not mandated. We thought that we have to create a system whereby Indian chartered accountants are able to scale newer heights. We did not wait for disruption so that we could get in and exploit this opportunity of AI. We simply walked through and started AI. We are the one of those pioneer early institutes. You're aware that we were set up an Act of Parliament way back on 1st July 1949, when the most important document to the democracy, the Constitution, was not adopted. So we took this clarion call to train not only our members but students. You'll be happy that we have a course called Aura for students. Three important things before I say goodbye to you. First, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to pioneering, when it comes to leadership, you have to start from the very inception. कहते हैं ना, ढूंढने से कहाँ मिलते हैं तमन्नाओं के शहर, ढूंढने से कहाँ मिलते हैं तमन्नाओं के शहर, चलने की जिद भी जरूरी है मंजिल पाने के लिए. The second important thing, as chartered accountants, we have always pioneered, we have always performed par excellence. And when it comes to technology, leave aside artificial intelligence, blockchains, data analytics, Internet of Things, cyber security audits, information security audits, we have always excelled and outperformed. So that is why we thought of creating a committee, AI in ICI. Not only that, we started certification courses, and you'll be happy to know that the certification courses which we started on 1st July 2024, we have more than 30,000 AI certified chartered accountants, adding value to the perspectives not only of their clients or stakeholders, but regulators and government as well. And third and final thing, as an institute, the vision is paramount. I have with me my Honorable President and Vice President, both visionaries, to take this institute to unprecedented heights. I have worked full year with Prasanna Kumarji, and I worked so long with Mangeshji. I know both of them. So this is a kick start of a greatest revolution, a revolution to put things in the right perspective, a revolution to move with heart to perform. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really thankful to the committee for inviting me here. I'm thankful to all of you too for coming here to go home more enlightened. This profession awaits your indulgence. This profession look forwards to you, because we don't want followers, we want leaders who could ultimately breach the best standards of the world and put us at the top. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nanda sir. Your words of wisdom are always guiding to us. Now, I will request our Vice President, Mangesh sir, for his vision on AI in ICI.
Good morning. Dignitaries on the dais, Honorable President of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, CA Prasanna Kumar D, Honorable Immediate Past President of ICI, C. Charanjot Singh Nanda, my Central Council colleague, C. Umesh Sharma, other panelists on the dais, distinguished guests, innovators, and professionals. Generally, on global forums, AI discussions often focus on the frontier models, breakthrough technologies, and such other aspects. But India, the scenario is different. As we see, the motto or the tagline of this AI summit, Sarvajan Hitaya, Sarvajan Sukhaya, welfare for all, happiness to all. In India, we try to see that all the aspects, all the concepts, how they will be useful to community at large and upskilling the entire community towards their welfare. So India's AI story lies elsewhere. It lies in MSME, using AI to optimize inventory, the startups leveraging AI for financial modeling, the textile exporter applying predictive analytics for global demand, and somewhere mid-sized hospital deploying AI for faster diagnostic. AI becomes meaningful when it enhances enterprise capability to scale up and leads to the welfare of the community at large. This session on artificial intelligence and India's economic growth demonstrates how AI is transforming services, manufacturing, finance, healthcare, startups, and general welfare of the community at large. For MSME and emerging enterprises, AI reduces cost barriers, improves market access, enhances competitiveness. However, adoption requires skills, and that is why ICI has come into picture and invested heavily in structured learning, including the AI certification course, as Nanda sir has mentioned, which has applied capstone models, AI hackathons, encouraging real-world solutions, faculty identification, training programs, and publications guiding professionals on prompt engineering, AI law, ethics, privacy. Number of professionals have been trained in AI and how to use it effectively for the enhancement of our profession. This aligns with the summit's human capital and economic growth chakras. AI will change the job roles. Routine tasks will shrink, while analytical, advisory, and governance capabilities will expand. The CA profession stands at the intersection of finance, compliance, and enterprise strategy. We are uniquely positioned to guide AI adoptions in MSMEs, assess AI-driven performance metrics, strengthen internal controls in AI-enabled enterprises, and support startups in scaling responsibly. India's AI path should be led by businesses powered by skills and rooted in ethics. Ethics is a key word and a buzzword for ICI. And in AI also, it is our endeavor to emphasize on ethics on AI, ethics in AI. Technology gives the tools, skills build a real ability, strong rules ensure that it lasts. And ICI is fully committed to all these three. And therefore, we are very happy to participate in this, and we are very happy to welcome you all in this summit. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mangesh sir, for your elaboration on the AI initiatives. Now, friends, it's a time to listen to our leadership, our own President sir, Prasanna sir. Please welcome with loud applause.
Dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, my dear delegates, good morning to all of you. Our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, aptly stated at the 2025 Paris AI Action Summit as follows. He said, "We are at the dawn of AI age, where technology reshapes economies and societies. India stands ready to lead with responsibility and innovation for all." This is what he stated. True, in line with that, the Union Budget 2026-27 of Government of India casts AI as a force multiplier for governance, productivity, and Viksit Bharat, shifting from experimentation to scaled deployment. Friends, key thrusts of the Government of India includes data centers as strategic national infrastructure with 21 years tax holidays, that is up to 2047. India's AI mission, 38,000 plus GPU compute with 10,300 crores for startups. Semiconductor mission 2.0 with 40,000 crores. 15% safe harbor for data services. Social AI like Bharat Vistar for farmers and healthcare. Skilling via Education Employment Committee. AI curricula in 15,000 schools across the country, Deep Tech Fund, 20,000 crores for research and development, and startup tax holidays up to 2030, and AI tax compliance. These are the great initiatives which have been announced by the Government of India. India AI Impact Summit marks a defining moment in India's technological and economic journey. It reflects our commitment not only to leverage artificial intelligence for growth, but to shape it responsibly for the global south. AI today is not just an automation tool, it is a strategic driver of productivity, innovation, financial inclusion, governance efficiency, and global competitiveness. Friends, as India advances towards vision of Viksit Bharat 2047, AI will be central to achieving sustainable and inclusive growth and expansion. The National Institute of Technological Transformation, that NITI Aayog, forecasts that AI could inject close to $500 to $600 million into GDP by 2035, with finance and manufacturing sector gaining 20 to 25% productivity surges. However, economic growth powered by AI must be anchored in trust. And this is where the chartered accountancy profession becomes very crucial. Chartered accountants are custodians of financial transparency, audit assurance, taxation compliance, sustainability reporting, and governance. AI is reshaping audit methodologies, transforming financial reporting systems, enabling predictive tax analytics, strengthening fraud detection, and enhancing ESG disclosures. But alongside these opportunities lies a responsibility to ensure ethical deployment, data protection, and regulatory compliance. AI must enhance public trust, not undermine it. Friends, India has the digital public infrastructure demographic advantage, and policy momentum. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is proud to contribute to this national mission by ensuring that AI-led economic growth is guided by integrity, accountability, and governance excellence. With this, thank you very much. So we'll go ahead with this.
Thank you, sir, for your vision of ICI in AI. And as you said, ICI name includes AI. So thank you, Prasanna, sir. Friends, now it's a time for our topic and main discussion, panel discussion. So after that, if time permits, we will have question and answer. So I will introduce all the panelists and we will start our discussion. So the first and the foremost panelist is विट्ठल sir. जैसे प्रभु का नाम लेते हैं तो विट्ठल भी भगवान का नाम है. So we will start with विट्ठल sir, and विट्ठल sir will be taking AI's impact, economical impact on banking and automobile industry. So विट्ठल sir, you have ample time of 5 minutes, so you can start your discussion.
Good morning to you all. Thank you so much, sir. I think it was a very powerful message from the leadership. If we can. Yeah. So you're going to find a quick glimpse upon some of the key sectors and how AI is transforming each of the sectors in our economy. I'll be taking two of these sections, and two of the most important, indeed, privilege to have this. But before I start, I'm always reminded about the quote that from Mr. N. Vittal, my namesake, but a great person of those days who drove the entire computerization of the banks in this country. And he used to say that information technology is like Mahavishnu. It is both Bhayakarita and Bhayanashana. It creates the fears and gives you the tools to dispel the fears. If you see, in 2022, we started off with the AI journey as just some chatbot. And it was more of, an entertainment, and we were really kind of getting amused. But today we are finding that the business is really looking at it very seriously because it is making a huge difference to its top lines and the bottom lines. So let us look at some of these sectors. First, we'll start with the banking, the financial services, and the insurance sector. Needless to say, this sector is the circulatory economy. It really brings in the money that's required for the entire economy. And if you really look at where this sector has such a great importance, is with regard to its contribution to GDP. If you see, it's very powerful in terms of where we have started with 6% somewhere 20 years back and where we are today. And if you really look at it, today we are talking about the most, the tallest country in terms of the UPI, which has created a complete global revolution, and many countries are adopting that. So that is where digital payments, and if you really look at the exports that happen with regard to the technology, is also taking shape. Not only that, surprising to see that the market cap today stands at about 91 trillion rupees. And in fact, the PM, Jan Dhan Yojana is really contributed in terms of the financial inclusion aspects, wherein we have almost 52 plus crores of these accounts opened and 2.3 lakh crores with regard to deposits. That shows the importance of this particular sector. If you really look at the recent innovations in the last 2 years or 3 years and what it has done to this particular sector is amazing. Because as I said, of course, you have the examples of how we use the opportunity of the pandemic to really transform Digital India program. And I'm sure in each of our homes, people who never even looked at the mobile banking as an opportunity, especially the elderly people, they are really taken to it, they swear by it. So that is where the kind of the entire mind, share has completely changed today. And if you really look at the way that fintechs are driving this market, and the number of fintechs today are phenomenal, and they are making a huge difference in terms of how today we look at customer personalization, how do we look at finding all those funds which are not available otherwise, but then digging them out and making sure it is available for the larger public. And look at the spend that we have since 2024 is $830 million, which is significant in terms of economy like ours, wherein slowly we are gearing up and it is only scaling in terms of geometric progression. Most important part of the FI, the financial inclusion initiatives, are reaching out to those rural, our brethren, and that is where, if you look at these apps, are creating a huge difference. Some of these apps are absolutely magnificent. We need to commend the work of our fintech youngsters who have done a great job in making sure this finance reaches them in the language that they understand, with the clarity that they need and the simplicity that's required. And that's where it is exactly making the difference. Now, let's look at the challenges also, because if you really look at this, the biggest problem, I'm sure you have seen the recent Supreme Court's noting also to say that the fraud started 52,000 crores of rupees, and that's huge. And that if you look at, where we are in terms of the annual losses with regard to the digital arrest, that was 10,000 crores. I'm sure many of us know people who have got affected and how it really transformed their lives in a very difficult manner. But that's where I think technology is coming to the fore, and we need to really take that forward. Another challenge to the innovation is the DPDPA, the Data Protection Act, which has been recently introduced. So on one side, you have the accelerators coming from AI innovation. On the other side, you have the brakes coming from DPDPA. And that's where I think we are going to see how we need to balance both at RAPISA Act initially. Look at another big challenge faced by many of these financial firms is the huge costs of compliance and the compliance rigor. While the government is doing everything to bring that down, but that still stays an area of kind of pain. But that's where I think all these are areas where innovation using AI has transformed. If you look at, we'll discuss some of those cases. For example, if you take State Bank of India, they have again under 50,000 plus lakh crores from the kind of dormant and loans which never really took off. They found out what exactly was the root cause, all thanks to using AI. And if that's, SBI itself, as I say, is a country. And if they have demonstrated that's agility, that's where I think the really difference lies in what AI holds for our country. And look at some of these, many of these, the new digital banks today, they are making a huge difference if you really see. The MSMEs, who has been, the most untouched in terms of the credit reaching out to them, is where they have been working and try to understand their problems, because their problems are completely different and they contribute almost, we see 30% plus to the GDP. And that is where we have a huge, thing which is coming there. Of course, chatbots on personal insurance. I'm sure if you look at your insurance, the way that premiums are decided today, it's made of a lot of data. And we're going forward, see that this is going to pick up more, because everybody is catching on to this AI, and which is really helping them to completely look at customized insurance policies, which is happening. So top of thought, what's happening is Gen AI has produced significant amount of traction with regard to increasing the productivity and efficiency gains. If you really look at those numbers, they are fantastic. Now, where is the India advantage? If you see, we have built a very strong digital public infrastructure, and that's what is really powering all this. I mean, when this was being built, we had a lot of doubts, but today it has really created a huge kind of pillar of support for really powering the BFSI, especially. If you really look at the Aadhaar linked identities, they are phenomenal, and we are the world's largest, as we know, the digital payment system. And the Viksit Bharat alignment is where we are proceeding to in terms of 5 trillion economy. All is going to be powered by AI. Let's please understand, some of these firms who really shot and went on the top of others. I'm sure you will be reminded of the Amazon days when they started as a bookshop online, and they completely closed down 2 businesses. And that is where the power of technology holds, and AI, which is going to power this economy into somewhere. I think we're going to be the global superpower. Let's come to, of course, needless to say, fundamental to all this is safety and trust, and that's where exactly ICAI comes in, because we have very responsible AI being introduced and pushed into the market. So far, we know that the required assurance and confidence that required for the public is driven by the institute's members. Looking at the next sector, so just to summarize this, AI plus BFSI is really talking about achieving these objectives of financial inclusion, fraud reduction, growth engine, and global standard. Quickly getting on to manufacturing auto, if you see all that money, majority flows into this particular segment. And if you really look at their contribution, vehicles alone, automotive alone contributes 7% of GDP, with 49% of the total manufacturing GDP, and creates almost 37 million plus jobs. And the number of vehicles produced has been about 31 million, if you really look at the last year's figures. And overall contribution of the entire manufacturing sector stands at about 17%. The government has been pretty positive in terms of the PLI outlay, which has come at a significant amount. And if you really look at, this is powering in turn the steel, electronics, semiconductors, and logistic industry, which are again key to Viksit Bharat, if you really look at this. And then, of course, this sector also accounts for 16% of the India's exports. Coming to the recent growth, just expanding on that, but just to tell you that we are slowly getting into the 3rd largest auto market. I'm sure all your cars are already computerized and computer driven. We already know that. Everyone is connected to an app. It's only a question of time when we are going to see that the entire mobility industry is going to get transferred and contribute to the nation as a whole. In fact, if you take from history, and if you look at the Puranas, and if you look at the Ramayana, we had the Pushpaka Vimana, and that is how Raman took away Sitama, right? But if you see, the victory also came back through the Pushpaka Vimana. So we are going to find significant amount of autonomous technology, which is obviously AI powered. And that's what is going to happen. And that's where, the Pushpak Mamarali has been set as the DNA itself of this country. So yes, we are looking at tremendous amount of, again, traction in this, but structural challenges are there. Logistics is a very high cost for this industry. We're looking at 14% now, whereas against the global average of 8%. We have a low global share of auto components. This is where MSMEs need to kick in. And let me tell you, the manufacturing side is really pushing the entire supply chain to make sure they adopt AI to reduce the amount of performance of this industry. So quickly, just for the interest of time, if you really look at where this is making a difference, one, in terms of predictive maintenance, because if we really look at, AI has created a huge kind of, the very change in the paradigm, how we looked at it, because it looks at predicting what's going to go wrong in advance. And that's really helpful because you're looking at a sustainability in terms of this thing. So if you look at about 20% reduction in the unplanned downtime is already happening. Then vision-based quality controls. Today, if you see the defect analysis using computer vision is absolutely fantastic across the, the assembly line. 50% of the defects are caught by AI. That's already there. So you can imagine what's going to be the future like. And as we see, to solve the problem of logistics for this industry is where you have supply chain auto optimization. There are many firms which have really started up, in fact, last couple of years, and they are already making a huge, if you look at your, quick commerce enterprises, which is the Flipkarts of the day, if you see how do they make sure that you reach it within 10 minutes, and that's where the same vision is being applied there. The future of mobility services, as I said, is exciting, and the AI is going to really push that. So the future ambition, if we are really looking at, is we are targeting about 23% of manufacturing. All that is just not possible unless and until this intelligence gets into every part of our manufacturing sector. And you're looking at targeting about 80 billion of auto components target turnover. And we are looking at doubling our auto components exports. And the total, if you really look at the value gain with regards to the exports, we are looking at about 8 million. So that is where I again like to stop. At the same time, let us please understand safety and trust is on top. Imagine you flying in an air taxi somewhere a couple of years from now, and let us say you get a message saying that you are being hijacked. What do you do? So that's where the importance of trust really comes in. And that is where the Institute of Chartered Accountants has multiple level of programs wherein as chartered accountants who understand business and processes and embedded controls better, we are trying to contribute making AI safe for everybody while not losing out on the opportunities present. Thank you so much. I'll just hand over back.
Thank you, Vittal sir. Starting from banking and ending at automobile, it was a fantastic fast-forward discussion. If any questions are there, we will take at the end. Now we have our another dignitaries. Diya sir, please come on dais, and Anand sir, the eminent panelist, please welcome them. And also we have our Central Council member Hansraj Chuk sir, who is present here, and Pramod Jain sir. Thank you for your gracious presence. So friends, now we are quickly moving toward the another sector by Narsiman, and it's on the tourism and software and IT industry. And you must be looking that we have compiled the data and put up a value and also embedded AI related discussion in our panel discussions. So enjoy these discussions. Over to you, Narsimhan.
Thank you so much, Umesh ji. A very happy and good morning. My name is Narsimhan Ilangovan, and I've had the privilege of speaking today on 2 or 3 unique sectors, and the first being tourism and hospitality. I'm sure each one of us today, at the beginning of year, apart from our personal finances, budgets, we all have that little budget. Where do I travel this month, or where do I travel this year? And what do? We go to Google, we go to search, all of these things. But today, the whole game of tourism with AI coming into picture is completely changed. Just to give in some numbers in perspective, right? What constituted close to about 7% of GDP in terms of tourism is now nearing close to about 10%, and that's the target which we have. But what are some of the unique challenges which this industry face? Typically, if you look into it, this is one sector where you have a lot of footfall from international as well as global, and the local as well. Now, when your global audience are visiting, obviously there is a huge impact from a foreign exchange perspective, but what they expect is transparency and trust. And that is where AI brings in the element of standardization, the element of usage of AI for doing some of these things. And what is very nice to notice is the vision which our government is coming up with, and they've made certain specific things which I would like to mention in this current budget. The first being National Institute of Hospitality, one of its kind and for the first time. Imagine if there was standardization in the tourism sector, the way in which it is approached, the way in which culturally message is delivered, and more importantly, that you have people and processes which are driving tourism into a large scale. And that's basically where this particular Hospitality Institute is coming up, which is a partnership with the IIMs, along with building up catering, tourism, and other elements. The second something which I really liked in this budget is the element of National Destination Digital Knowledge Grid. Whenever somebody travels, the first question they ask is, what do I go to that place and visit? It could be a spiritual travel, it could be a relaxation oriented, or it could be even for your culinary delight. Who does not want to have a tasty masal dosa in Delhi, or perhaps a rasgulla in Mumbai, or a vada pav in Kolkata, or maybe a dal makhani in Karnataka or Bangalore, right? We want to try different flavors or the local flavors, vice versa. Now, this is where this unique mission is positioned, which is capable of bringing in this form of a grid, which is going to be an open API enabled system where foundational systems are going to operate. On top of that, you have the AI layer, which is doing something very unique, right? And next, I'm not sure how many of them are aware, from a spiritual tourism, India is something which is significant amount of population. And exactly 1 year before, I'm sure all of us had this mega tourism from a spirituality perspective, people speaking. Any guesses? Mahakumbh, right? Mahakumbh had witnessed such a population that perhaps it is more than the entire population of certain countries, right? And that is the volume at scale. Imagine this sort of a management, including crowd management, how AI powered cameras, digital initiatives were actually doing it. There were chatbots which were converting into 12 different languages for people in their assistance. And that's basically where the Kumbh Sahayak, and the Sahayak actually, in fact, even though the spelling is Sahayak, the app was called as Sai, right? The Kumbh Sahayak, and that's basically how it is. And not to forget the tourism relating to the tourism related, especially cultural exchange, trying to meet, trying to do online puja and digital puja powered by AI solutions is also significantly increasing. The second thing which I want to make a mention is a textile. Now, while Vittalji did make a mention from a manufacturing perspective, one unique thing which you have to notice from a textile is the capability what India has. From a production standpoint and from a cost optimization point, there's been a terrific amount of capability there. But what is a very interesting challenge? This is one of the sectors in India where 90% is contributed by the MSMEs. Now imagine you wanted to try out an apparel online. The biggest challenge which you have is whether the size fits you. And this is exactly where computer vision is coming into picture. Computer vision is able to analyze what is your requirements on one side, on the demand side, and from a supply standpoint, it is able to also clearly say, hey, these are where the bottlenecks are. These are where the defects are, predictively giving some insights, because the amount of waste which is just generated in this entire segment itself can be substantially reduced. And if Indian exporters are looking into the European geographies, you have carbon emission guidelines. Now, compliance with those in terms of restructuring your business and process requires AI-enabled systems for you to drive that. And not just that, we also have an ambitious initiative of 7 PM Mitra Parks, AI Center of Excellence, 10,000 crore SME growth fund, and all of these, which the budget has promised, is only going to further push the way in which AI use in this industry is going to happen. And not to forget, who does not like to have a custom fit dress at every time and every occasion? Today, just like how the Netflix and the YouTubes of the world are giving you the customization, that sort of a mass customization is possible in the textile space. And the last sector which I'll be speaking about, which constitutes a substantial amount as far as the GDP and the numbers of India is concerned, is the IT and IT enabled system. In fact, if you ask me, tomorrow, every organization, my dear friends, is going to become an IT company. just that they operate with a different license. A bank is an IT company who has a banking license. An agriculturist would probably become an IT guy who has to manage digital operations, because I have seen where a lot of innovation in each of these sectors are coming into picture. So when I speak of ITES, I'm talking about twofold. One, producing it for the world. Second, producing solutions which are customized, industry specific, which can solve. But at the same time, you need to realize that this sector, for the first time, has got a very innovative budget sanction. And you know what? Foreign countries, foreign companies are allowed to set up their data center and they enjoy a tax holiday. And today, we all keep on saying data is the new oil, AI is the new engine. But where is the car? The car is the infrastructure. That is where your IT-enabled systems, your data centers are focusing on and building it. In the next few years, you'll find a lot of compute capability increasing. And not just that, as our president did mention, that in the budget, there was a point which was mentioned about 10,000 plus GPUs, which are going to be made. And we are having innovative initiatives like the Sarvam, which in fact, our Honorable Prime Minister did visit that stall yesterday, where he made a mention, Bashini, which is a language transcription app. So these are unique things, and the world of SaaS industry is also changing, which means going forward, you will have AI-enabled SaaS companies, and that is where the future is going to increase. So if you look from an industry, a lot of workforce is moving to AI native tools. Today, coding is being generated through AI, thanks to a concept called as vibe coding, and that is where we are heading into. We're talking about governance in the form of digital data protection law, a sector which is actually evolving and bringing in a lot of rigor. And we can also talk about the talent mission, where a lot of talent upskilling is taking place thanks to institutions investing in that. As a matter of fact, I feel proud that since the last 2-3 years, we are noticing ICI taking a lot of initiatives, including the way in which the CA GPT has actually transformed. And not to forget, we are looking into a massive lifelong system where AI-enabled systems are going to transition. Hopefully, these last few slides or last 3 points which did give you some sort of an impetus. And if you want to talk about towards the end, I just want to talk about how we have a overall framework in which what we can do. And if I have to give a concluding message, we have the talent, we have the rails, we have the intent. What we're going to do in the next few days is just execution and capability at scale. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Narasimhan, for the beautiful presentation on the 3 sectors. Now, हम अब आनंद लेंगे, आनंद जी का. He will be speaking on the AI's impact on retail and commerce, and also on telecom and media. Over to you, Anand ji.
Thank you, Umesh ji. Very good morning, everyone. And this sector, I will just directly jump into the thing because of paucity of time. But this sector is something which is very exciting. If you know, in India, retail is one sector which actually generates a huge amount of jobs. It's also one sector which is evolving, because if you know our demographic, we have a huge number of young population, and that's the area which basically works as both the consumer as well as the creator of the job. Now, this sector is something—
Anand ji, every speaker has 5 to 6 minutes.
Yeah, 6 minutes.
You were not there, so just
Yeah, no, sure. And what I would like to do here is talk about the scale and stability. This is something which we need to talk at a macro level from an economic impact perspective. What we are seeing is a lot of numbers are getting added to the GDP just because we have a huge amount of use cases which are coming, which we call it as AI-led control architecture. If you're trying to see it up from the e-commerce boom to the fast commerce and everything what we are seeing today, one of the key things or the key highlight of that is, because we are a country which is actually getting into this area right now, we have been someone who is understanding the impact well and using that to differentiate ourselves out there. And there is a lot of enterprise impact in terms of seeing the wastages, seeing the way how we are handling the logistics and other things and taking it forward. So overall, if you see from a perspective of what we are seeing, the impact of AI on retail and the e-commerce sector, I would say the most important thing is the pivot which is happening. The way we are seeing, I'm sure some of you have visited, some of the stall. There are a lot of, startups which are talking about on SQ management to branding and other things which has to be actually totally changed out there. And the number game, I'm just trying to use it up from a perspective of the numerical figure which we are seeing out here. We have seen a kind of impact on our, total GDP of something around 450 billion plus, which we can see. On the same side, the second part I would like to talk about is, I'm sorry, let's actually go back. Green one, okay. The one which I was talking about is on the media and green. Yeah, sorry, my bad. On the telecom and the media sector, the second sectors which I wanted to talk about, and I'm trying to bring it up, both of them on a very different perspective out here. Let's try to see the way we are looking at the digital backbone. Before me, Nasiman rightly mentioned about that if oil is the new, data is the new oil, where is the car? But that is on the infrastructure side. But there is also one more important point which comes into the thing. Data is the new oil, but we are looking for the refineries. Where are the refineries? Where are the insights which are getting built up there? If you see, first, the telecom industry. Yes, we have a huge numbers. We have, telecom anchors our digital economy, and, digital first enterprises are getting built. But one of the key thing is that how can we optimize the infrastructure cost? One thing which differentiate us, and that's the number which will be coming up in the next slide, very important, is we are a energy surplus country, and we are going to become more energy, I would say surplus in time to come. And that makes us a kind of an ideal location globally for setting up data centers. I don't know how many of you have, heard yesterday one of the, statement by Anthropic that they are actually going to do a $30 billion investment in data centers. And globally, there is actually going to be something around $1 trillion getting into data centers. As a country which is power surplus, it gives us a kind of an edge over other countries in the world in terms of doing it. And the most interesting thing which is changing now, and I think from an economic perspective, the wastage and the inefficiencies what we see in this sector, especially in telecommunication and other thing, I'm sure you would have heard about something called as the Mule Hunter, a kind of an app created by RBI. Because in India, you see the UPI payment and other things which happens is all done by phones and all things. But we are seeing a lot of cases of, wastage, or I would not say, it's more of a electronic crimes which are happening where people are losing money. And there we are trying to talk about how we can bring efficiency and yield. And overall, these are some of the numbers which will entice you. If you see it out here, media and entertainment, the incremental value by 2027 is something which is predicted at 450 billion plus. And this is in USD, I'm actually wanted to put it out there. But the most interesting thing which is there is, how do we bring down the cost of productions in that? And in the telecommunication, we see a kind of a surge in data centers. And this two sector itself is having a very positive impact because of the AI surge which we are seeing out there. Friends, one thing I will just try to conclude here, if you try to see it out there. There are two factors which are playing it up. The government is playing one role at the macro level, enabling enterprises. But the most important thing which is there happening, a culture of experimentation by Indian enterprises. That's something which is changing the way we are looking at that. The kind of new innovations which are coming, we call it as made in India for the world. That is going to be the change which we are seeing more. Back to you, Umesh.
Thank you, Anandji, for the quick insight on this sector. Now we are moving toward the another important sector by Harpreet Singh on the governance services, public administration, and most important, AI in agriculture sector. So over to you, Harpreet.
Thank you so much. I would like to start with a quote. Predicting the droughts, anticipating the storm, AI inside protect, keeping harvest interest intact and strong. So welcome to the good morning session. we are going to focus on two sectors. One is AI in agriculture and another is AI in government and public services. Now, when we talk about agriculture, there is 46% of the workforce which is employed and 18% of the India GDP is contributed by this sector. 3% is the increase year on year, and when we see the India GDP growth, it is much more than that. That means, madam and sir, there are many areas where we can focus and take help from AI. Now, AI can have a lot of information around, okay, what are going to be the prices, what is going to be the impact on the demand, and what is going to be the impact on the climate. So it can give you generic suggestions, okay, this is going to be the crop that you should plant. Now, sir and madam, can AI give you specific recommendation also? The answer is yes. So it can create a digital twin, yes, digital twin of your farmland and same soil structure, the composition, the water availability, the climate of your particular area, it can ingest and it can tell you, okay, there are 12 crops which are profitable, but out of these, two suit your farmland. So it is going to be very specific. Now, the thing is, by help of AI, every farmer is going to have a particular guide all the time available. So it can show the photo, the video of the crop, okay, and it can tell, okay, this is the thing to be done. Not only that, with the help of IoT sensors, it can tell the farmer that now the soil requires fertilizer. Now the soil requires water. Now the requirement is this. So it is going to have a reduction of around 40% of wastage of water because you are overwatering. You are using more fertilizers than required. So it is going to reduce the 30% wastage of the fertilizer. And of course, it will keep the soil better. And when we talk about the chartered account, because I am a chartered accountant, so I will talk about the finances. Soil health can be kept as a infrastructure and it can be kept as a financial asset also. So I am a farmer. If the soil that I hold in my farm is better, I will be having better interest rates because of course I am going to have better harvest. So it is going to have an impact of 0.5, minimum 0.5% to 1% of the rate of interest if the soil health is better. Now it is not only about that I am going to have some AI impact on my agriculture. It is going to impact the areas, the industries which are dependent on the producers of the agriculture. All in all, there is going to be an impact. And of course, all of this I have noted down here. The impact is going to be huge. What is going to be the impact? The impact is going to be around 18,000 to 22,000 crore rupees per year. This is the overall impact that employing of AI in agriculture is going to have. Now we are moving to our next sector, and with the data unveiled, a clear open site, AI prompts efficiency and makes difficult things a delight. Sir and madam, we are having 1.5 billion citizens and the throughput per year is 50 lakh crore. And with the help of inclusion of AI in public services, in the government working, we are going to have 40% reduction in development variance. How, sir and madam? Of course, government is working in a lot of areas. Sir, government is working in healthcare, education, your various things like taxation, welfare, infrastructure, everywhere government is working and there is going to be huge impact starting from the policy. You will ask, sir, how government forms the policy? Sir, first and the foremost thing is the grievances. Okay, So government is already implemented the grievance management system, which is using AI, and the reduction in the time is huge. The reduction in the time is approximately now coming to 2 weeks for the grievance resolution. Now, the grievances of the citizens gives you a very good idea that in which direction you have to make the policy. So it is going to be a policy based on the requirement, the demand of the citizens, rather than making the policy on the basis of some discussions. So it is going to be very, very huge, very, very beneficial for all of us. Now, since we are going to make policy on the basis of a huge data, sir and madam, is it possible for a human to manage, to read, to understand that level of data? The answer is no. So AI only can do all the work with that huge data, and AI is being currently implemented in a lot of places. So you want to do policing? You will do policing in those areas where it is required and there is a data that crimes happen more here. So patrolling should be made there more. Sir and madam, okay, healthcare. For example, in the healthcare, okay, these are the areas where we require a dedicated policy, and AI is going to help that. And AI is going to have a dedicated support guide at each and every place, even at the places where the doctors are not available. So it is going to be very huge help. And when we talk about the traffic management, some of the states have already implemented the traffic management system, which is using AI, and there is a reduction of noted 25% of the time that people wait on the various lights, etc. So all of the things I have mentioned here, and when we are going to apply AI in all of these things, including the education. So in education, what happens is there is going to be a teacher who is going to come and going to teach. Now, every person who is reading, studying is different. Now, with the help of AI, it can change the content of the course. It can change the way of teaching also as and when the feeds come. So it is going to be very, very helpful in the government working and the public services, and the throughput is also very huge. And in the end, I would like to just say two lines, and I'm going to end. And the two lines are, what are the two lines? So basically, sir, no longer guesswork, but knowledge refined. AI is going to be helpful for all the humankind. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Harpreet. Now we are moving to our last panelist, who is Prabhav. So over to you, Prabhav. And he is going to take up the startup MSME sector and pharma healthcare.
Yes, very, very good morning to one and all present here. The sector that I am going to speak about is impact of AI on startup MSME sector and on pharma and medical sector. So Indian MSMEs, they contribute to around 30.1% of the GDP. And let me tell you, ma'am, sir, this contribution can help settle the AI technology. Yes, yet the technology here, it can provide all the resources which is required for the AI. Starting from the manpower. AI को flourish करने के लिए we require manpower. And India has been a backbone of providing IT related manpower since decades. And even in terms of AI, we have had 33.4% growth in terms of AI talent manpower hiring, which has been one of the highest in the world. Next, the AI in India, they have raised about $524 million of funding in the first 7 months of the last year, 2025, as per Economic Times report. And as per a World Economic Forum report, we have had a 59% adoption rate. Even the small MSMEs with around 1,000 of employees, they are adopting AI. So second thing which is required, an environment wherein you can test different AI tools and resources. India has a capability to provide the same to the entire world. And therefore, we have had a multi-billion dollar investment from across the different tech giants across the globe in India. Next, we have the pharma and healthcare sector. Third important thing which is required for AI to flourish is data set. आपके अगर AI को flourish करना है तो it requires a huge amount of training data set, and India again with a population of 100 plus crores has again a potential to give that database to the AI tools. We have had digital health mission, the Ayushman Bharat digital mission under the government of India. They aim to digitize 500 million plus patient records, which will provide a training data set to all the AI tools. And the government is also maintaining privacy and confidentiality while they are doing so. And this is going to create a lot of impact. I'm just going to mention one case wherein this training data set helped. A man was taken to diagnostic center, and an AI tool based on the X-ray of the chest done detected a 9 mm small module which human eye perhaps could not have detected, and that was a spot for cancer. Right? So just imagine a human life saved. I think we cannot even monetize the value that it will add in terms of human life to the economy. And the last point here, we have had ICMR and AIMS Rishikesh do drone delivery trials in Meghalaya, Arunachal, Uttarakhand, and Himachal, wherein AI-enabled drones were used to deliver essential life-saving drugs in different places. And pharma sector, one of the biggest problem pharma sector faces is the time taken to develop a particular drug, a drug for a medicine, the time taken to develop a particular drug for a particular disease, and the cost involved in it. We have had a startup in India which created a drug using AI, and the CEO made a statement that usually the time taken for the clinical trials and all, it was around 5 years, that got reduced to 1.5 years from 5 years. And look at the cost involved. The cost usually involved to have a preclinical trial and all this is around $700 million, which was reduced to around only $4 lakh. $700 million reduced down to $4 lakh. And World Economic Forum has said that AI is going to drive 30% of the new drugs development research phase by 2025. So that's the projection. It was made by the World Economic Forum. Ma'am, sir, today we are having an era wherein we are discussing impact of AI in Indian economy. But let me tell you, our economy has so much of potential and it is going to contribute to AI that going forward, we will be having sessions wherein we will be discussing impact of Indian economy on AI. With this, I would like to conclude. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhav. Now I quickly request our Daya sir for the quick vote of thanks. Over to you, Daya sir. You have 2 minutes because the next session is going to start.
Thank you very much, and indeed a pleasure to be here. Honorable President, Vice President, immediate past President, and the entire team of ICI, thank you all for giving your patient listening. And as you have seen the presentation, that they covered the entire industry sector. And I was just on my way and I just saw certain hoardings which Prime Minister Narendra Modi's statement were there. AI means all inclusive. I think a round of applause for our Prime Minister for giving such wonderful slogan. Friends, I just go back very quickly to 2017 when Government of India has talked about Digital India Initiative, where they talked about 1,04,000 crores of investment and budget that need to go into it. And today we are able to see the entire concept which is coming in a reality when we are seeing Bharat Mandapam and the world is talking about India at this point in time. The biggest advantage of India is its demography and most importantly, the kind of information which we have across the board. The kind of data, the kind of information which is available in certain reservoirs is also now made available for people at large by giving the right data information and the accessibility, whether you talk it as UPI or you talk about a smallest farmer who is able to use the right apps for the benefit of his entire, agriculture. Sometime it was the weakness, which is now converted into a biggest strength, and the kind of outcomes which we are seeing which is unimaginable. We are talking about one important thing, which is sovereign LLM, and ICI is going to play a very important role, being a organization which is set up by an act of parliament. So friends, wait and watch what ICI is going to do for all you people and the kind of data which is going to be provided. When numbers come, it is always ICI which will matter a lot. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daya sir. Now I quickly request Hansraj Chuk sir and Pramod sir to do the honors of presenting vote of, for our all the panelists. Memento. I will request our team to bring back the memento quickly. First, I will request Pramod sir to hand over memento to Prabhav. Please come. Yes. Come. Yes, we are here. Prabhav. Yes. Sir, you can hand it over. Yes. Now we request Pramod sir for felicitating Narsimhan. Next. Now I will request Hansraj Chuk sir to felicitate Harpreet. Now I will request Daya sir to felicitate Anandji. Now the last speaker, I will request Pramod sir to felicitate Vithal sir. And we will have a group photo. Thanks to India AI Mission for giving chance to ICI for this session. Thank you all the participants, all of you for being here. Thank you.